Okay. Sitting here waiting for anybody to jump on, waiting for my guest to jump on so I can see if I can add him. Our power just happened to conveniently go out in town, right before the show, so I've got no Wi-Fi to run the laptop off of. So we're doing the old phone thing here. Hey Sharon, how you doing? Okay, there's Brad. Hey, there you are, buddy. I'm gonna send a link to add you.
Hey, Keith. Hey.
You're breaking up a little bit, but oh, we got some bad feedback.
Hold on for just a second. Is that better?
I think so. No. You froze if you can hear me. Okay. Nothing like technical difficulties. Well, while we're waiting here, my power just popped back on, so waiting for the internet to reconnect. Come on, internet. Okay, here we go. Hang on one second. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right. Guess what just popped back on? My power.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is
All
awesome.
right.
Well, good to meet you, my friend.
Good to meet you also. I'm going to jump back on Facebook here on the laptop real quick and try to get this shared out quick.
Okay.
Let's see here. Right now, I'm only broadcasting to the Otters Den.
Mhm.
Because I was worried about limited bandwidth on the phone.
Got it. All right. Well, if you want, I can switch over to laptop as well.
Um, we're working right now. It's good.
Okay.
We'll get a couple people jumping on here in just a minute, getting it shared out to a couple other pages here.
Okay.
There's that.
Hmm.
And it usually takes a couple minutes for people to pop on.
Yeah, no worries. How's your day going so far?
It has been hectic. It's been
Oh
a
yeah,
zoo.
I'm sure. Welcome to life.
E- Exactly, exactly. Okay, there is that. And we're going to share that. Excuse me. Yeah, work was hectic, and then I get an email message from our city administrator that power was out in the entire town. As I'm on the way
Mm.
home to do this, and I get into town and we got power. I'm like, okay, great. And then about a quarter till, guess what goes out? The power. So then I'm sitting here scrambling,
That's so
charging my phone
awesome.
off the laptop because it was on 67%. And then once we finally get this working, then the power pops on. It's just kind of a little life lesson there. Don't freak out. Just stay calm, work through it. You'll get it figured out.
Yep, I went through that experience myself this morning. So it's interesting how life supports you in what you need in that moment versus what you want.
Yeah, exactly. That's something I've learned. The more you fight for something that you think you need at the time,
Hmm.
the
Yep,
universe may know that you need something else.
totally.
If you just let it
If you,
flow,
yeah. Yeah,
get what you need.
my biggest lesson has been surrender. So my whole thing this morning was like, okay, I'm not super happy with because I'm not getting what I want, but I'm trusting that you're going to give me what I need. And I just decided to let go. And sure enough, that's how it
Absolutely.
goes.
Absolutely. 100% with you on there. Um, so you're a life coach, correct?
Yes, technically, that's what most people probably get right away. I like to consider myself more of a mindset coach for people.
Okay. Okay. I get that.
Yeah, because I mean, life coach
So,
is so general and vague, and it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? But I work on people's mindset surrounding what they feel they're worth having in life, specifically relationships. So I work on, their belief system and their mindset around that.
okay, that makes perfect sense to me because that's something that I've been working with myself over the past several years.
Hmm.
Self-worth. Do I deserve this? Do I deserve that? So it's been a heck of a journey for me over the past 3 years.
Yeah,
I've got a heck of a backstory.
I'm
Uh,
sure we all do, right?
yeah, it's been a crazy life, but
Well,
I've really been doing a lot.
tell me a little bit about what's going on for you.
Okay, well, this is going to sound strange, but I'm into the paranormal.
I was gonna say, yeah,
I reached
it's
out.
gonna be perfect.
I reached out to. I've dealt with the paranormal all my life, victim of it, and now I help other people with it. I reached out to a TV show called The Dead Files because it was
Hmm.
getting so bad, and fought for about 4 or 5 years to get him here, and I finally did. I finally got him here, and Amy and Steve went through. They found plenty to do the show. We were having activity while they were filming, which is something that they're not used to. It really kind of freaked them out a little bit. And anyway, they sent a group called the Spirit Mechanics up from Kentucky to help us. They came up, cleansed the property, cleansed the home, removed what was inside me, and so it's been 3 years of nothing but reevaluating my life, my past decisions, my past choices, learning why I did some certain things, learning why other people did certain things, why I saw it this way instead of this way, why they saw it this way instead of that way. Um, so it's, I call it shadow work. You look inside
Right.
yourself, you look in the
Yeah,
mirror, you
absolutely.
look at
Yeah, I know
things that
that.
you don't, yeah, you look at things that you don't like about yourself.
and you maybe you never realized you didn't like it. You know, you were mirroring that to another person or off of another person. You know, you're blaming the other person for, you know, your own flaw, which is a narcissistic tendency.
Yep.
Um, so I've really had to do a lot of work, a lot of soul searching, and now I get to, you know, go out and help others with you know, not only the paranormal activity, but, you know, kind of like you, adjusting their mindsets, how they think, because when you're used to work, you know, living with the paranormal so much, it becomes a mindset. It gets ingrained. It's like an
Right.
addiction. You get used
It
to that
becomes part of
negativity.
you.
Yeah. And when you remove it, it's like removing a drug from somebody, you know, from an
Hmm.
addict. And so it
Absolutely.
really takes a lot of work and a lot of aftercare.
It's a journey. It's never ending. It's constant work to stay in that mindset of growth and self-awareness, because if we allow ourselves to think, oh, I made it, I'm here, I'm evolved, and life will slowly and surely accumulate more experiences for you, and you'll, without realizing it, go back to an unawakened state of being. And it's challenging, because we like to think that there's a destination that we get to, because we're so ingrained with winning a race or finishing a book or finishing school or whatever. So there's always for us a destination that we know something's over. So to have someone begin work and think that it's like for the rest of your life, they're going like, well, fuck that. I don't want to work at this for the rest of my life. Why
I
can't that
hear
just
you.
be
You know,
done?
yeah, and it's like that with a lot of different things, with jobs, with relationships, with family issues. You know, excuse me. You know, it blows my mind how many different ways you can self-sabotage yourself just by your own thinking.
Yeah,
You can
absolutely.
keep yourself from getting to your destination because you've ingrained yourself into your comfort zone. Okay, I'm
Yep.
here in this home, in this job. I got X amount of dollars to last till next week. I'm okay. I'm comfy. If I step out of my comfort zone, if I try to get a new job, that's different. That's change. I
Yeah.
don't like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it usually it takes kind of a life altering event, getting fired, you
Mm,
know, breaking up with somebody, divorce, what have you, in order
yeah.
to get you to start growing and step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, so many people call it a comfort zone. I choose to call it the familiar zone. People may not even be comfortable in their quote unquote comfort zone, but they're familiar with it. And so that
Okay.
feels like, okay, I know what this is like. I know how to deal with this. I'm familiar with this. I may not like it per se. I may even complain about it, but I know how to deal with it. So it's the familiar zone.
That makes total sense. It really does. I like that. I think I'm going to start using that term more often.
Yeah, it took me a while, and it didn't really hit and land with me and stay until I started doing my coaching work, full time instead of just doing it part time. And I just remember thinking to myself, this isn't comfortable at all. I would ask my clients, I go, well, how comfortable is that? And it's not comfortable at all. Like, right, it's what you're familiar with. You know how to deal with your partner rejecting you or berating you or not texting you back for a day or two, or if you don't get that promotion or if you run out of money or whatever your familiar zone is. And it can show up in every single aspect of your life. It's some people like to think, well, every other part of my life is amazing except my job. Like, really? Is everything absolutely amazing, or because everything bleeds over into something else? It just does. You cannot help it. It just does.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of times you fool yourself into believing, you know, things that you know deep down inside aren't true. You don't want to face it, you know, because then you
You
got to
just
take
don't,
a step.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to face it, so you tell yourself, "I'm okay with this."
Yeah,
Absolutely,
most
I
definitely.
love it.
So tell me a little bit about how you got started in this business, if you don't mind.
Okay, pardon me. So the Cliff Note version is I went through a self-development course a little was it 4 years ago, 4 years ago, and it reminded me of what I knew when I was 14 or 15, and I remember being in Seattle, walking downtown and just watching people walk by me. And I'm an empath, and so I'm able to pick up on people's feelings and emotions, right? And so you know what that feels like. And I would watch
Oh
these
yeah.
people walk by, and I could just see how much pain they were in. And I was going like, someone's got to do something about that. I said, I wish I could do something about it. I just don't know what that is. And of course, life will do what it does, and life will life. And I moved on past that, and I went to college. I got a job. I got married. I did all the things that we're told to do as being good human beings. Um, and when I went to the self-development course, there were three different levels, three different phases of this course. And after the second phase, the second level, I remember this this. So I'll call it a download. And if you've seen The Matrix and you've watched the scenes where they download information into Neo's brain,
Yes.
that's what happens for me about situations or people. I will get a download, and it's not a wish or a hope. I will absolutely know something. And so I got this download that this is what I'm supposed to do. I am here to help people remember who they are and what they're worth. And it doesn't matter what's happened in their life. It could be they got cheated on multiple times by different partners, or they keep getting fired, or their parents abused them, or whatever it might be. They got cancer, or whatever it is. And I know a lot of people don't believe that when bad things happen, there's a reason, but there absolutely is a reason. There's a reason that I went through the childhood that I went through. I knew that there was something wrong with the way that I was raised. I knew that there was something wrong with the way that people go through most of their life. And so I made a commitment to remind people of who they are and and why they were created.
Yeah.
And so it's I was even doing this before I became a coach. I just didn't realize what I was doing. I felt a very strong calling to mainly support women in their journey of, you know, um, especially in romantic relationships. I was not always the best partner, so I learned very hard lessons. I made probably every mistake you can make in relationships, and
You're
I
not the
know
only
what
one.
that. Yeah, I know what it feels like um, to. Well, I'm just going to say I think one of the biggest turning points for me was when I had to confess that I had cheated on my last really serious partner that I had been with for a while. And just to watch that person basically break in front of you, um, there's really not a lot that can prepare you to watch somebody just basically break
Yeah.
and and have that look of how could you, why, you know, um, what's wrong with me, what's wrong with you, the whole the level of pain that I witnessed in front of me was like, no, I'm done. I'm never doing that again. And
I can.
I've never done it again. I've dedicated the rest of my life to having women feel safe around me, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, sexually. Women absolutely get to feel safe around me and learn how to identify and be safe with. So
Yeah.
that's the how and the why.
I can totally relate to that story. Um, I was not a good person back in the day. I thought I was.
Right.
In a way, in a way I was, but there was also something else in here um, that has been since removed, possession, that was also influencing my decisions. Most of the time I could stand above it. Well, something had happened, I'd be a little weak, I'd fall on my face, and guess who took over?
Right, right.
Um, I totally understand that. And, like I said earlier, since, all those paranormal issues are gone, I've looked back and I've learned, I kind of took myself out as a third person, started when I was 6 years old and just kept working up. Um, when they took this out, I lost half my memories. I'm getting a lot of them back. It's taken time, but so every time I get more memories back, I got to do this again. It's an ongoing process, but I learn more every
Yes,
time. But
yes.
I watched each situation from a third person standpoint, and then I actually got to hear and comprehend what had happened and why it happened. And okay, I get this now. So if I wouldn't have done or said this because I had to be right instead of admitting I was wrong, which would have maybe led to a conversation and an understanding and um, so yeah, I totally get it. I had to go through everything I went through, every bit of hell in my life in order to get today, to have this conversation with you for other people to hear.
Hmm.
They might have to hear it later because nobody's popping on. It's Saturday afternoon. I get it,
Right. Yeah.
but
Yeah. No worries.
they'll watch it later.
Well,
Um,
everything happens for a reason. So even if my mantra is, and when I first started, my mission was I'm changing the world one person at a time. And if only one
yeah,
person hears this, what if that one person has the ripple effect of reaching the next Oprah or the next Richard Branson or the next Warren Buffett or the next Gandhi or the next Martin Luther King Jr.? That's
yeah,
all I that's
yeah,
all I need is to reach one person who will reach one person who will reach one person, and we all get to have that ripple effect. So people hopping on or not is irrelevant. Mm.
exactly, exactly. When I first started doing this, I've never been a public speaker. Scared to death of talking in front of a group of people. This is a little different. It's just like me talking to you, even though I know they're in the background. But a
Right.
couple of years ago, I got to speak at a paranormal conference, about my story. And there's 20, 30 people in the room, and I had to get up there and tell my story. And, I'm sweating bullets and my voice is shaking. And I just keep telling myself, you know what? You got help. If this helps one person out there, it's totally worth it. And you're doing what
Absolutely.
you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
And since I did that, it's been getting easier. I've had some nudges from some people to get this going. To get messages out to people. Like you said, to help that one person.
Help that one
Um,
person.
yeah, because then they're like, okay, I learned this, and they may have a friend that's going through the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, guess what I learned? This is how I just saw this. Maybe this can help you.
Absolutely.
We've all got different ways of dealing with things, but the more we learn, the better we're going to deal.
Exactly. It's like Maya Angelou's saying, I don't think I'll get it completely right, but I believe everybody does the best they can in the moment with the tools they have. And when they get more tools, then they're able to do better. I believe in the good in
Yeah,
people. I believe that people want to do better than they're currently doing. It's a very, very rare individual who is able to do the best in every moment. So,
absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to backtrack just a second. You had mentioned you had kind of been, you know, on a not so good path for a while. That's something I realized, when I finally realized what my life path was, and that's helping others, helping, healing. I do Reiki. I help with the paranormal, remove paranormal issues. That's my purpose here now. Um, but I had to go through every bit of hell on both sides in order so I could understand, the feelings, you know, both sides had in order to be able to help these individuals and actually know what they're going through. know what they're feeling, know what they're thinking. Um, that if I didn't go through all that, I wouldn't be able to help anybody. I could say, yeah, I get it. Well, I wouldn't. Now I do. I get it.
Well, we have to. We can choose not to. So we can choose every moment, of how we walk through life. But life will keep bringing us the lesson that we need until we learn it. So we can either choose to learn it in that moment or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know you got a website. I think I gave
Mhm.
the link for it. Do people like sign up? Do you do classes? Do you do this individually?
Mhm. Yeah, so I do both. I'm just coming to the end of my September program. I created a group. It's called Worthy AF. It's about, again, reminding people what they're truly worth, why they're here. And so I do a monthly program. I'm doing another one next month for October, and I do one-on-one coaching as well.
All right, cool, cool. That gives people that like to do things alone, an opportunity, or things, people that like to do things in a group setting, an opportunity, as well. That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yes.
Um, I know, especially personally, when I was going through and realizing I wasn't the best person, I didn't want to, whole bunch of people knowing what I did, or, um, I had to be able to deal with that myself first and learn from it. Now I can talk about it. I
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
everything I've done openly.
Yeah.
I've been cheated
Absolutely.
on, I've cheated, you name it, I've done it.
Right.
Not proud of it, but it helped me get to today. It helped me learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We can't
everything
we
comes
can't get
with
to
it.
where we are. We can't get to where we are now if we don't go through our journey. And I'm here's the thing. No journey is for everyone. Everyone gets their own, and my journey is different than your journey. And your journey is different than the people that follow you. And we're so full of judgment, mostly against ourselves, that we think that our journey has to be different. It has to be more epic or grandiose or catastrophic so it can have a deeper impact. Well, your journey is yours. My journey is not the most horrific. I don't have an Oprah story. I don't have a Tony Robbins story. I have my story. And my story has resonated with enough people for me to understand that it's going to resonate with a certain number of people while I'm here. Before I move on to what's next, my story is meant to resonate with just a certain a certain type of person who needs to hear my story. They don't need to hear about the Tony Robbins journey or the Oprah journey or the Warren Buffett journey. They need to hear about my journey because they relate to me for whatever reason. And
Yeah, whatever's happened.
you have the same calling. You resonate with a certain person who needs to hear it from you and nobody else. You're the only person that can deliver that message so it lands for them in a way that causes change.
Exactly. Planting seeds. You plant a thought. I did a video on this the other night as I was peeling green bean seeds out of the pod so they could dry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, had no plan of doing that. Spirit said, here's something to think about. So I thought about it. I'm like, oh, do I? Yup. Okay. So I hit the record. I didn't do it live because I didn't want anybody interrupting me with comments. I wanted my train of thought to just flow.
Right, just flow.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I was tired. The words came out. Some of them might not have came out right, but they came out. And I rewatched it, and I think I nailed it pretty well. Some people really, they said they really needed to hear that. But you can
Mm-hmm.
plant seeds, plant thoughts. Okay, here, you having issues with this? Here's this idea. Okay, you planted a seed. Now, who gets to water it? It might be you.
Mm-hmm.
It might be them. It might be their mom. It might be their dad. Somebody else gets to fertilize that seed. Then they get to grow it a little bit. Then somebody else fertilizes and waters it a little bit more. Then it grows, and then it's ready to harvest. oh, wow, okay, I get it now. That pod opens.
Right.
And then they get ideas and talk to people and they plant more seeds. And, a good friend of mine, Steve Smith, he taught me that. He was talking about, we were talking about gardening. And he's like, yeah, I've been planting seeds with you for a long time. It's like, okay, I get it now. So yeah, I'm a pretty good gardener here and there. Um,
Excellent.
and I used to think that, my way was the right way. Even after, I started to grow. Well, nah, my way was the right way for me. People could tell me what was wrong, what I was doing wrong, till they were blue in the face. But until I saw it, until I understood it, until I accepted it and comprehended it,
Hmm.
that's when the change takes place.
Yeah. Well, you needed to be
Um,
ready. You weren't
yeah,
ready yet.
and yep, and a lot of especially females out there right now, since that's mainly what you deal with, a lot of them are in narcissistic empath relationships. Females are the empath, the males are the narcissists, and no matter how hard they try to grow, to learn, to help themselves, they keep getting knocked right back down just when they start making some progress because that narcissist sees, okay, this is threatening my control. We can't have that. We have to knock that. I have to get this control back. So we got to knock you back down. If I can't, then I'm going to blame it on you, and I'm going to play the victim. The narcissist will. It's a hell of a cycle. It really is. And like I said, I've been on both sides of it. Um, and the only real way that I can see for that empath to succeed is to get out of that situation. But it's so difficult for them because that narcissist has so much control over them. It's been embedded, it's been trained.
Hmm.
Um, so that type of a situation is really hard for them to break out of. There's all kinds of stories out there online about that particular situation, being one of the hardest, relationships there is. Um,
Yeah, I can
you know,
definitely see that. I do take a slightly different take on it. I think that the descriptor of narcissist is starting to get overused for people when people can just be flat out selfish, and
well, that's it too.
they can be controlling. Because I'm a recovering control freak. And I needed things to look a certain way. I have a vision for what I want my relationships to look like romantically. I have a vision for that, but it's not something that it has to absolutely look just that way. But I think the whole narcissist descriptor, it has taken taken on a life of its own, instead of people understanding that sometimes people come from a fear mindset and they're afraid of losing somebody, or they're afraid of losing their level of control in a relationship, and so they do these maybe passive aggressive behaviors, or they um, manipulate because they need this person in their lives. Narcissists are probably some of the most needy people. They just don't admit it, and people focus on the negative side of, like, they're so controlling and they're gaslighting me, and that is more than likely true. And
Mhm.
people that gaslight or narcissists, true narcissists, are extremely insecure, and for whatever happened in their life, um, maybe they were made to be wrong, like since childhood. And so this need to be right and controlling and have control over their environment is something that is helping them get through life. Now, this is not to say that I'm making excuses for narcissists, but we need to
Sure.
understand that it's really being overused, in my personal opinion. And sometimes people are just scared and selfish, you know.
I
And
can understand. And
yeah.
and again, once that individual, sees the error in their own ways, they're not going to change.
Hmm.
Um, so again, we got to plant seeds. Maybe something major has to happen before they're going to jump out and say, okay, I'm
Yeah.
tired of this. I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want better. And
Yeah.
that's when they were going to finally reach out for help and say, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was me, to be honest. I mean, you just described me. I was a horrible person to be in a relationship with. I thought I was nice. I would do nice things, and then I would cross boundaries, and then I would go like, well, it wasn't that bad. I didn't sleep with anybody. I
Right.
still hurt. I crossed boundaries, and I betrayed, and I compromised my values, and broke a promise. So all of those things, and when I started to see that those things had repercussions, I mean, like real painful repercussions, is when I started to go like, oh, you mean people don't really like me? They just fake it for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when I finally understood that, yeah, people are seeing through my bullshit, I was like, oh, well, I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do something because, you know, there's a lot of programming that happens. You know, men are supposed to be conquerors, and you know, bed many women and be financially successful and superstars, and we're programmed and socialized to think that that's what men are supposed to do and be. You know, you're supposed to be, you know, the Cam Newtons or the Tom Brady's or the Warren Buffetts, and you're just supposed to go out and just be loved by everyone and be successful and blah blah blah. Well, not everybody gets that journey, and some of the most amazing people I've met are very, what's the word? Um, I don't want to say average, but they're solid, really good people. And those are the people that I rely on. These are people that are rock solid in who they are. And they still have their challenges, but they know who they are. They don't
Yep.
need to prove anything to anyone. And those are the people that I look to when I'm looking at, okay, am I looking at this correctly? I need some perspective outside of myself. I mean, I'm thinking I'm fairly evolved, but I'm also in the middle of it. And do I have enough perspective to see whatever situation I'm going through in the right way? And so I seek out, you know, even in relationships, like I seek out advice from people that have been in long-term relationships to go, okay, so I'm going through this right now because I'm single, and um, I just ended a relationship. It was only a few months long, but it wasn't working, and as part of my vision. And so I reached out to a couple of people that are in what I would call successful, long-term, like truly authentic, loving relationships. And I'm going like, am I looking at this correctly? I need some different perspective. What can you share with me? Here's what I'm going through right now. What can you share with me that can either help me shift my perspective, or am I looking at this the right way? You know, and
Yeah.
it validated for me what I try to do, in that I try to be as objective as I possibly can, because I know that I come with filters. I know that I come with built-in filters from my childhood that I'm still working through. And my filters affect how I see the world. And so if I can get somebody else's filters into my brain and look at it from their point of view, then I can go, okay, I see what you're saying. And it can help me to view that situation in a different light and process it in a different way. And that way I can hold myself accountable, because I can't go around telling people I have answers and I have tools for you if I'm not using tools myself. That's a bunch of horseshit.
Yep. Yep. That makes complete and total sense to me. I'm sure it's gonna make some sense to people out there too. You know, and if we don't have the right tools to use, we can't build our own house. And we got to build our own house before we can let somebody move into that house. You know, if
Absolutely.
we got to,
Yeah.
you know, we start out with a hammer, okay, we're gonna bang through this, right? We're gonna make it fit. We're gonna make that thing fit. Well, guess what? A couple years later, you get a saw. Hey, look, I can cut this part out, and it fits.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and it takes time to learn. It
Yeah.
takes
And
time
if,
for you to see yourself.
yeah, if you don't have a solid foundation within yourself, it doesn't matter who you meet. Your unstable foundation will rear its ugly head, and you will deal with it at some point. So you need to
Absolutely.
have, and that doesn't mean to say that you can't be working on yourself while you're in a relationship, because you absolutely can. A lot of people think they
Yeah,
need to be like solid before a relationship. Well, that's not true. You can work on yourself while you're in a relationship. The key for me, and this is just me, this is what I do. I tell whoever I'm going to be entering into that monogamous exclusive relationship, because that's the lifestyle I choose, and not everybody chooses that, but that's what I choose.
yeah,
Um, but I tell them, I said, look, I'm a work in progress. I'm probably going to fuck up a few times here. So if you're willing to put up with me fucking up, and then owning it, and then fixing it, when I do, then
yeah.
we have something that we can work with here, because there's nobody so perfect that they walk through life flawlessly. That never happens ever.
Absolutely. Help me learn. Help me
Yeah,
learn about myself, and
yeah,
maybe I can help you learn about yourself, and then we can learn together.
yeah.
Um, I thought for a long time, I thought I had to be single. I had to be here by myself in order to grow. Well, I couldn't see past my own filters. So then I'd allow some close friends, who have also been through a lot, to come in, like you said. Um, they put some seeds in my ears, and that's maybe planted a new filter. And then I could look
Hmm.
through that. And then this one over here, I could look through that. And then I started to see things in a different light. That's when I really started thinking. I went through most of my journey by myself, you know, as far as relationship wise. I
Right.
live here by myself, but I've always had friends, right there. And like I said, they've helped a lot. So it's kind of the combination. A lot of it I needed to go through by myself. I needed to see for myself because, like I said earlier, nobody telling me this was going to convince me until I saw it.
Yeah,
But they helped me to they helped me to look at it.
yeah,
I heard enough that, okay, well, maybe I do need to sit back and take a look at this. Maybe that's how I was acting, and I didn't think I was because of the way I used to think. I'm retraining how I think. Um, and the person that I believe I hurt the most back then when I did all this stuff was myself. I hurt
yep,
myself the most. And
absolutely,
if I go back
absolutely.
if I go back to those behaviors, I'm going to be dropping myself right down into the bottom of hell's basement.
Yeah,
And you when people get out of a relationship, don't heal, and they jump back into one, they're going 9 times out of 10, they attract
hmm,
the same person in a different body. How's that? I
yeah.
sometimes I
That's exactly what
yeah,
I teach the women. Is, a lot of people think, well, it's just the next person. The last person wasn't a fit, but this next person will be a fit. And then they relive
sure,
that experience. They relive that experience all over again. And then they're wondering, well, how the fuck did that happen? I chose a different person. I went from an Italian guy to a guy from Brazil or whatever. And then one guy had blonde hair, one guy had brown hair. Well, guess what? It's the same type of person, different face, different name. It's the
yeah,
same thing. And life will bring you that lesson regardless of its romantic relationships or not. Whatever lesson you need to learn, maybe it's starting a business or whatever it might be. Until you learn that lesson, you will relive it. And most people just don't understand why things keep happening in their lives. And this is the thing about everything happens for a reason, regardless of how insignificant you might think it is. If it keeps showing up, it's showing up for a reason. And subconsciously, we are calling in that lesson. Our soul knows the lessons that we need to learn, and we can either be accepting of it or we can deny it and go through it over and over and over again. You know, that
Yeah,
was me.
exactly.
Yeah, that was me, you know, with everything in my life, you know. So when I
Yeah,
finally realized I am cause for everything that happens in my life. Once I accepted that, like 100%, some people accept it 50% and less and more, whatever. Once you accept that you are cause for everything in your life, it will change all of your results. Every single result that you get in your life will change once you understand that you are the cause for all of it.
yeah, yes, yes, you are. Um, you know, this is perfect. The way the planets have been hitting with the retrogrades, the moon cycles, the lunar cycles, the solar flares for like the past year. It's been leading up to this point right now. It's been showing people what they need to work on. And you know, Pluto has been in retrograde all year. You know, everybody has an issue with Mercury because Mercury shows you issues that you need to see, sometimes with other people, sometimes within yourself. And the longer you put these issues off, you keep burying them and burying them and burying them, it gets worse. And eventually, no offense, Mercury. Mercury's a pup compared to Pluto. Mercury shows you. Pluto says, okay, you know what? We've been showing you this for 9 months. We're going to pick you up and slam you in the concrete until you see this and do this.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, the world got put in timeout this year. And that's led up to this point. The rest of this year, energetically, planetarily, if that's a word, is for what no longer needs to be in your life, what no longer serves your higher purpose to exit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you can work through, you can get rid of the negativity that's going to allow more room for better people, better jobs, better cars, better what have you, houses, just to step in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, people have been doing their shadow work. They've been stuck at home, so their vibration is raising, which is also raising the vibration of the earth. You know, the Schumann resonance has been going off the charts lately. Um, so just let things flow. Don't fight it. If you let it flow, the lesson's going to come. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow, but it's going to come, and then you're going to see it. Um, and once that relationship ends, yeah, it's going to be tough for a little while, but then all of a sudden, you're going to start understanding things and you're going to start feeling better. And then you're going to start feeling better about yourself and you're going to work a little bit more and a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, that job offer, oh, wow, look at this over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to fall into place. So, you know, from now until December 21st or so, I mean, that's what this time is for, is to process, to allow things to fall away, don't fight to keep it. If your best friend, you know, of 20 years, all of a sudden gets ticked off at you because you like Trump and they like Biden, you know what? If you can't have a conversation, let it go.
Yeah, exactly. Let
You
it
know,
go.
once you both, if you both work on yourselves, maybe you can have that conversation in the future. You know, but right now it's not that time. So just let it go. Work on yourself. Work on something else, and it's gonna work out for you. But if you fight it, you're going to get slammed into the concrete again. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah. It's life will do that, you know, and I know people like to think that it's Mercury or Pluto. I think that there's no separation. Pluto and Mercury, they're all part of the same energy field. And
Yes.
for me, it's life. Life will bring you that lesson. It'll give you little nudges like, hey, maybe you shouldn't keep dating this person, or maybe you should move and leave that job, or whatever it might be. And then one day, it's just, you know what, I'm fucking tired of this shit. You're not listening, so I'm going to have this person break up with you, or you're going to get fired, or whatever is going to happen is going to happen. Because life will say, I tried to tell you, dude. I fucking tried to tell you like 10 times, and you didn't want to hear it. So this is for your own good.
Exactly. You're running late. You know, you only got so many points left at your job. You're running late. Your car won't start. You finally get it going. You get on the road. There's a tractor slowing you down. Then you hit a train, you know, a big long freight train. It's just one thing after another, and you get it. You walk in and you're fired. Well, you did everything in your power to force that situation, but somebody said, "No, you're done here. We're going to
Yeah.
move you over here, and we're going to help you.
Yeah. It's
Let
time.
us."
This is your lesson. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. And I think sometimes subconsciously we do it, you know, because we know this is not the best job. We know this is not the best relationship, you know, or whatever it might be. So subconsciously we are again we are 100% cause for everything that happens in our life.
Absolutely. I've been studying last few days. You mentioned the field out there. You know, we're all part, all one.
Hmm.
Um, you know, everything out there is energetic. It all came from a fixed point.
Hmm.
They did an experiment. They took a photon, split it in two, so they were identical, two identical photons. They fired these photons 7 miles in opposite directions. Whatever they did to one photon immediately at the same time, no time difference, they measured it with a nuclear clock, happened in the other. That's how this field that you were talking. Now the scientists are calling it the Higgs field. It's
Hmm.
been called ether. You know, um, it's a gigantic field out there in the universe. It's what the
Hmm.
universe is made of. It's what everything that is in the universe is in. It's all connected. Um,
Yeah.
what we do here to a molecule on your desk may affect the molecule on Mercury. At the same time, even though we don't realize it. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And humans, well, souls, are also connected like that. What happens to person A in this state, if you're connected, all of a sudden person B in this state, oh, I got to call John. Hey, John, how you doing? Well,
Yeah.
I'm not having such a good day. It's like, I was kind of feeling that, how you
Yeah.
doing? What you
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you get that text or that call from that someone like, "Hey, I've been thinking about you," and you have just been thinking about them, that happened to me just recently with a friend from high school, and we reconnected again. Just an amazing individual. And, I just want to circle back a little bit to everything is connected and source and energy and all those things. I'm listening to a book called The Source Field Investigations. I actually just
okay.
finished it on Audible, and it talks about um, just energy and how we're all connected and how our thoughts will create something in parallel universes. And they did experiments measuring energy. So when you get up from that chair that you're sitting in, if you never sat in that chair for a month, they would still be able to detect your energy in that chair.
Yeah.
And so when people are in relationship, especially romantic, where you're being physically intimate and you're connecting through um, the chakras and just that exchange of energy, just even being next to somebody, that's another thing that people don't understand is they need to disengage from that energy.
Yes.
They need to do some sort of cleansing, if you will, to get that person's energy out of their field.
Absolutely.
And so that's, yeah. So I just kind of wanted to expand upon what you just said. We have an effect on people no matter where we go. The Starbucks barista, the gas station attendant, the store clerk, our boss, our coworkers, our siblings, whatever we do has some kind of effect on them. And my mission is to be the absolute best person I can be no matter where I'm at any given moment. And I fail miserably sometimes, but most of the time I'd like to think that I do a pretty decent job.
Yep, I totally get that too. I'm doing a lot better than I used to. I can say that. I'm still not perfect. I never will be. Those thoughts still pop in your head. I was conditioned for, decades thinking like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody hoped I was going to change overnight, when I got my help with paranormal. Nah, I even hoped that. Nah, guess what? I'm still working. I'm going to be working for a while. But the big difference is I recognize it. I see it. It's like, okay, nope, we're not going there. If I have a negative thought, I try to think of 3 positive things right off the bat in order to combat that. Then I can, okay, and then go on about my day. But yeah, stuff just pops in still. It's like maybe spirit saying, okay, you still stupid? Here's this. Look at this. It's like, no, today I'm not stupid.
Not quite as stupid as yesterday. Oh,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I want to just expand on that a little bit for anyone who is listening now or might listen. Change is a journey. Change is not a switch that gets flipped on or off. True lasting change is gradual. It's incremental. It's great to have aha moments and epiphanies where you go, oh, I get it, right? And those are awesome. My experience is they don't last. What really lasts is doing the work every day and um, seeing the change. Like say, for example, I used to get super triggered when my romantic partner would be engaging in conversation with another man who I felt was a threat to me. So I would get jealous and insecure and reactive. So when I started to do the work on me and understanding that it doesn't matter, they're just talking, and it's not even just that. It's like the only person that's a threat to me is me. And I
That,
worked on that for years and years and years. And then one time I went through a situation where my person was talking to someone or interacting, and I was like, oh, that's okay. I didn't even really think about it. And then about an hour later, I was like, what just happened? I didn't get triggered. So
yeah,
you know that the work is working when you go through a situation that normally would have triggered you before, and you get through that situation without even realizing that you went through it differently than before, and then you go like, oh, I didn't get triggered. I didn't get
yeah,
I didn't retreat to my typical man child behavior with jealousy and passive aggressiveness, you
right,
know?
exactly.
So I just want people to understand that change is a journey. It's not a destination. You don't magically have someone wave their magic wand over you and you're different. Because it's like winning the lottery. Let's say you won the Powerball and you went from broke to multi six-figure millionaire, right? You don't know how to handle that kind of change in your life. And if you've always been super reactive and somehow somebody waves his magic wand and now you're like super evolved, guru, and nothing triggers you anymore, nobody does that. It's a journey. So I just want people to understand that, give themselves credit for every incremental improvement that you can do on yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you don't, you're not going to grow.
Yeah.
And it's awesome when you can recognize that about yourself. Um, I used to be, on city council here. I used to, I'm in politics. I used to be really in politics, which I had to kind of take a step back from for a while, but I got
Hmm.
to pay attention. I used to get triggered so bad. I would get on there and, oh, I got to find this link. I had to be right. Well, I was being right for me, not
Right.
to engage in a conversation
Right.
for both people to have a better understanding. There may be um, positive and negative things about either side of that political issue, um, and I really have to look at that being on city council. I've got to look at this person's side. I've got to look at this person's side, and then be able to make a mutual decision. For our community, am I going to make everybody happy?
Nope.
Sometimes I don't even make me happy, but I have to vote that way anyway. You know, okay, this is the way I think this should be. However, in this particular situation, this is going to be better for the community.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
and you know, it's so awesome when you can recognize what your trigger is. You know, everybody thinks that everybody has to walk on pins and needles so they don't trigger you. You can't. You triggered me. You got to stop that. No, you need to understand why that triggered you. Let's do some shadow work.
Absolutely.
Let's look inside.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Figure that out
Ab-
so it doesn't trigger you anymore. So you can
yeah.
say, okay, I get it. Later, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Yeah. That's your stuff. That's your stuff. Don't force your stuff on on other people. It's not their job to manage your stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Brad, it is 3:04. We've hit that hour mark for the show.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and hop off here and close this out. I want to thank you profusely for coming on and putting up with the tech issues. Um, you know, that was Spirit saying, okay, we're going to test you. How bad you want this? I'm like,
Exactly.
okay,
Exactly.
we're going to
100%.
look at
And yeah, and
we're
figure it
gonna,
out. And figure it out. You know, life isn't all about always being in flow, right? Sometimes you get to work for stuff.
absolutely. And it makes it worth it. It makes it worth that much more, you know,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
when you get that gift.
So I'm truly grateful for the
Yeah.
opportunity. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to share this space and time with you. So thank you for the invitation.
All right, thank you. And to those listening, Brad Kenny, I will shoot his website into the comments here as soon as I jump off of here. Awesome dude. So go check him out. And thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.
All right, brother. Take care.
You do.